Why did I choose the Caribbean path? Why a Caribbean Medical School? Today we will answer that big question. Hey guys, it's Feline and welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I will be answering all the questions you guys asked me on the Instagram sticker I posted on my Instagram story a few days ago. But before we get started, make sure you click the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you can get notified every time I post a new video. So yeah, let's get started! Alright, so we will be doing these questions in categories because you guys asked a lot of questions and a lot of them were repeats. But I'll still read all of them, but I'll probably answer it in all one whole thing. Alright, first let's start with the logistics, the financial stuff. Number 1, how much does med school actually cost? Expensive, and it varies depending on what school you go to. Number 2, what are the costs in the Caribbean versus in the United States? In general, Caribbean schools are usually more expensive than US med schools, but like I said earlier, it depends on the school, the medical institution you're trying to get into. So AUA is actually one of the cheapest medical schools to attend to, which is why I chose it. And it's probably at the same rate as one of the expensive US medical schools, I think. But it's not that bad compared to other schools. Number 3, did you get a school loan? If yes, how was the process? I did get a school loan because that's the only way you could pay for medical school. Luckily for me, AUA is actually a school that is affiliated with FAFSA or accredited, I don't know. But I was able to get FAFSA. I don't get grants because you don't get grants in medical school, but you are capable to take out loans. Alright, moving on. We are going to be talking about the application to med school. Number 1, did you have a mentor for the app process or did you go in blind? I did have a mentor. She was really nice. She was very helpful. She reminded me of due dates. She reminded me to turn in my applications. If I had any questions, she was very approachable. So yeah, I believe that everyone who applies on their portal does get a new student advisor. But yes, I did have a mentor. How did you get in like the process and stuff? So the process actually took me around 2 months. My parents and I actually visited the campus back in September 2019. If you want to see some of the footage, click up here. I'll link it somewhere up here. It took me probably 2 weeks to do the whole application. And then I was able to schedule my interview. And then 2 weeks after the interview, I was able to get my acceptance letter. So it was really easy compared to if I was applying to a US medical institution. I thought you were going to the Philippines for med school. I was actually planning to go to the Philippines for med school, but then once I found out about the Caribbeans and how the curriculum is very similar to a US medical institution, I decided to go here instead. Which leads us to the 4th question. What is the difference of med here in the Philippines versus abroad? So like I said, the Caribbeans is very similar to a US medical school curriculum. And I'm not sure how the Philippines is. I believe that you do have your lectures and clerkships at the same time. But here in the US or in the Caribbeans, we have our 1st and 2nd year basic sciences. So that's all lecture and lab based. And then on our 3rd and 4th year, we have clinicals and we do rounds in any US affiliated hospitals. I guess it was more convenient for me because if you want to be a doctor here in the United States, you need to take and pass step 1, step 2 CS, and step 2 CK. So if I did medical school in the Philippines, I probably would have taken my step 1 after I graduated. But in the Caribbean or in a US med school, you're obligated to take step 1 after your 2nd year in medical school before you start clinicals. So you have to pass it before you can even start clinicals. Moving on to the Caribbean, or AUA in particular. How did you hear about AUA? Funny story. So my friend Jasmine and I actually went to a pre-med conference, a pre-med event. I'm not sure, but it was hosted at the Career Center when we were still at UCLA, and we went because they had free pizza and they were giving out free MCAT study resources. There were other US medical school representatives that gave their spiel about their school, but AUA was the only Caribbean medical school that was there who basically told us about the Caribbean Medical School experience. So before that conference, I didn't even know about the Caribbeans. That's why I was planning to go to the Philippines. What do you think of the culture at your Caribbean school with students/professor? So the professors at my medical school are really great. They're very knowledgeable. They're very approachable. When I was still doing my research, I heard that some of the professors in the Caribbean medical schools are actually retired US medical school professors, and they go to these islands to retire and they teach on the side. I'm not sure if that's still true now. Apparently it used to happen back then. As for the students, I feel like they are very supportive of one another. I was able to make friends really fast. I met a lot of upperclassmen. They gave me advice on how to succeed in medical school. They shared their experiences, what to do and what not to do. They shared their resources. Overall, they were really helpful and supportive, and they just want everyone to succeed. So, third question, how many international students are studying in AUA, and where do they come from? Most of the students in AUA are actually international, and it's really diverse. So a lot of us are coming from the US, Canada, UK, India, Puerto Rico, Latin America, like it's all over the place. Specifically, why a Caribbean school? How did you find out which ones had credentials? So I was able to find out which ones had credentials by going to their website, their school website, and then under accreditation, it tells you what type of accreditation they have or what states they are able to be accredited in. So a lot of you guys, this is the biggest question I always heard from everyone, was why a Caribbean medical school? Why did I choose the Caribbean route? Why did I choose the Caribbean path? Today we will answer that big question. I chose the Caribbean Medical School because of practicality, and I didn't want to waste time. I actually graduated early from UCLA, and I didn't know at the time that I was capable of graduating early. I did not book an MCAT just yet. So when I found out that I was able to graduate early, all the MCAT spots were already booked. I couldn't even get on the wait list. So when I found out about the Caribbean Medical School, I talked to my new student advisor. I told her that I wasn't able to get an MCAT score, and she told me that I just had to take it before I start year 2 of medical school. So that was one big factor. Another factor was that I did not want to waste time. Unless you're a student who has a 4.0 GPA with a research publication with 1,000 million hours of volunteer work, there is no guarantee that you are going to get into medical school, which is why I took a risk and applied to a Caribbean medical school, because my chances there were better than a US med school. Hypothetically speaking, if I applied to a US med school, since I was graduating early, I did not take the MCAT, so I had to wait for the next cycle, which is to start in fall 2021. And then if I did not get accepted in that cycle, hypothetically speaking, I have to wait another year, and that's already 2 years wasted just waiting to get accepted. But if I went to the Caribbean right away, those 2 years is an equivalent of me being done with basic sciences, and I could start clinicals right away. So that was my mindset on why I chose the Caribbean. It was more practical for me to go. It was more beneficial to me because of time. I knew I didn't want to take a gap year. I knew that I didn't want to waste time. So yeah, that's why I chose the Caribbean. That was my main reason. And it's actually paying off, because I don't think it's that bad as what other people think. So yeah, that's why I chose the Caribbean path. And that is it for today's video. I'm actually currently editing the footage right now, and I realized that I have more footage than what I expected. So I decided to cut it into 2 parts. The first part was what you guys just watched right now, and the second part will be talking about my study habits and some advice that I could give you based on the questions you guys gave me. And yeah. If you guys liked this video, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below if you have any other questions in relation to the medical school Caribbean pathway. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!